Welcome to Las Vegas, the city built on bets. And this week, the city of tech with the Consumer Electronics Show going on, and seemingly the entire advertising and media industry descending on Sin City, which is very fitting.
Yeah, this is an agenda-setting week for companies across media and marketing. So it's a big focus for what the top priorities are over the next 12 months. It's about thinking through what new initiatives are going to be the ones that are going to make a big difference. It's also beginning to strategize around how to take big bets as to what's going to pay off.
See, advertising is ultimately gambling. Advertisers are placing bets in hopes of making it big and driving product sales. Publishers are staking their chips on their abilities to deliver on those outcomes for advertisers. And tech? Well, tech's the wild card. So I've come to Sin City with one question in mind. For ad buyers and sellers in 2025, what's worth the gamble? And what isn't? To see how ad buyers and sellers are laying their chips in 2025, I asked a group of industry executives 3 questions. What's one new bet they're placing in 2025? What's one existing bet they're doubling down on? And what's one old bet that they'd fold because it's unlikely to pay out as much going forward?
See, I think my new bet will be on agentic AI by far, and the way and the speed with which it is developing and the capabilities it is demonstrating is simply extraordinary. That's where I'll put a lot of money on.
I think the rise of the AI agents and investment in the development of services to plan, architect, and develop agents, whether those are for internal tasks or commercializing for clients. I think for me, that's a big bet, and we continue to invest in.
2025 is the year to reimagine your search strategies and what you're buying in search. You've got to really think about your search budgets beyond traditional search buying, traditional search platforms. You've got to focus on native search inside social platforms. You've got to think about the impact of the AI agents and how it's surfacing new concepts, new capabilities to consumers and how you want to show up. That's got to be the thing. That's got to be the bet, because search is fundamentally shifting in 25.
One new bet that we're incredibly excited about was the launch and the announcement yesterday of Universal Ads. So it's a clear partnership with the publishing community, powered by Freewheel and the Comcast tech. That's really going to drive an opportunity for small and medium-sized businesses to get access to premium content at scale across the ecosystem.
I think we're placing a bet on news in the ad market. We think that too many advertisers have been neglecting advertising on news, that it has its place next to sports and entertainment, because 25% of the country checks news about 5 times a day, and 10% of the country looks at only news and doesn't like sports and entertainment. So we're doubling down on news venues as a good buy for advertisers.
I think the new bet that I would place is that marketers would actually heavily lean into incrementality solutions. I think at this point in time, there's no question that we've become overwhelmingly video-centric. That is the opportunity. That is what we're seeing. Multiple screens, out-of-home experiences, commerce. There is no world at this point where we cannot be effectively understanding the incrementality of our buys. It's no longer just about search performance. Search is on its way out. Novel ways of discovering brands are in, and we need to be tapping into those inventory sources, scaling out our media. And with that prerogative, we need to have a more effective and scaled way to actually test the brand outcomes.
The new bet that I'm really excited for is how measurement is coming back into the conversation, specifically with publishers around ROAS and what that can present in terms of partnerships that we're able to go out there and do, and value that we're able to go and show marketers that we can bring in terms of all the programs we run together. What makes it a new bet is that ROAS was never part of the conversation before. As much and as prevalent as it is right now, it's something we hear first and foremost in almost every conversation that we're having. And as a specialist media company that has over 200 properties, we know how to do it. We know how to prove it. And so I get excited because I see that as a point of differentiation for us in the coming months and years.
So the new bet, I think, this year is really going to be the intersection of podcast audio with podcast video, and how those environments are coming together and the advertising opportunities that are available through that space. That's what I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I'm going to make a bet on shopping playing a bigger role in media environments. That's been something that's for years, particularly in live streaming, been big in Asia and has never really taken off in the same way in the US. There are a lot of signs, whether it's in social or streaming, that consumers are more and more willing to have a shopping experience in a media environment. I think in 2025, we're going to see a lot more shopping and more convergence of commerce and advertising in media environments.
New bet would be more real integration between agencies and their clients, where the agency becomes an embedded extension of the client and leverages software and systems to really blur the lines between client and agency.
New bet out of place in 2025 is on creativity and human capital. I think that AI is going to water down a lot in our world and everything will start looking very, very similar. I think human creativity and how brands bring that forward will actually help them differentiate far more than anything they can do with AI generation, agentic adoption, any of those things.
An existing bet that we're doubling down on is the power of live. Peacock and the NBCU portfolio is the home of premium content, the home of live, and we're really going to double down on that, helping advertisers understand the value of live. We have the NBA coming back in 2025. We have Milan in 2026. We have the Super Bowl in 2026, World Cup. And so again, doubling down on these big live moments and helping advertisers understand the power of these moments with attribution as quickly as possible.
Live sports, I think. Whether it's in from a linear or broadcast or streaming perspective or the ancillary content around. Super excited about where women's sports is going as an opportunity. And so I do think that we're going to continue to see ratings move towards those live broadcasts, those live event moments. And so I think that's an area to keep going at.
The trend of more live sports in streaming, I think, is accelerating. And you just have to see the success of Netflix football, or Netflix and the NFL on Christmas Day, the announcements around the NBA coming to both Peacock and to Amazon, the continued growth of Thursday Night Football in terms of ratings growth and ad sales, and then even the expansion of women's sports into streaming, the biggest deal, Netflix and the World Cup in 2027. I think a big bet on more sports content in streaming is a good one.
An existing bet we're doubling down on. Look, I think we're doubling down on CTV. I think we've seen really tremendous growth on CTV. And I think the new forms of ads that really have to go into all of the content. I think we've been doubling down on social content creation that will create both the big platforms that people are looking for, will create the major ads and look that people are looking for, but then I think we're also doubling down on kind of the social content that people really need, that it's part of the stack of media advertising now, and CTV is probably the newest place to put that.
The double down bet is creator, influencer. We've talked about it. We really need to see that scale across our client base. It really works. It's cost effective. It's impactful. It drives sales. We have the data to show that it does now. There's scale there. And we found a way, particularly at Omnicom, to de-risk this opportunity for our clients through a solution called Creo. So that is definitely a double down. It performs better than social alone as a platform that we buy just for advertising. It's vital.
I'm going to double down on Reddit. I've been really gratified by the traction that they've been gaining post IPO. I think they've been making a lot of strong moves. I think they've really championed the use of their data, capitalizing on what is old is new, which is a contextual environment. And I think additionally, we've seen such an influx of creator activity, but I think we're getting to a point where especially with the rise of AI, it's going to become increasingly difficult to really suss out where the authenticity is and the real human reactions. And I think that Reddit, of anybody, still has a stronghold of authentic discourse and tapping into and mining real experiences to advise brand strategy.
I think our focus is continuing to build on our relationships with our enterprise partners, particularly Adobe, and really leveraging their platform to provide content and assets at scale, leveraging the content supply chain, and also implementing their tools into our day-to-day workflow.
Meta's ability to continue to scale, adopt new technologies, and push themselves forward. I think they've shown it with how all their AI and algorithmic bidding post iOS updates. I think they'll continue to take share from their competitors, but I would just place my bets on Meta and what they're doing moving forward, especially with spectacles. Is it spectacles? No. Meta Ray-Bans. Edit.
First-party data. Probably the 50th person that you've interviewed to say first-party data. But it's incredible from going from, what used to be a requirement to now being something that you can get really creative in terms of working with brands. Future was very early with Aperture, which was our proprietary tool. And we continue to evolve it and bring it to market and taking in new signals. So I'm excited to double down and see that grow.
I will be doubling down a lot on Gen AI, which of course I'm distinguishing from agentic AI. So Gen AI, I absolutely will be doubling down. It's actually on one hand pretty nascent, but on the other hand, it's also well established. There are so many things that you can get done with the current state of business as far as Gen AI is concerned. That's what I'll double down on.
The existing bet that I would double down on is high craft, and recognizing that even in a world of AI, the human intuition, the stories, the passion, and the art that live at the very top of this industry are still the thing that drives everything.
Oh, that's a real tough one. I don't know that I have a good answer. Listen, I want to be doing less and less standard display advertising. And if I can get out of that in totality and be more social, more engagement, more content, more video, I think that's the better spot to be.
I would say we have existing bets and we still buy a lot of just raw tonnage and social platforms, just broad reach for clients. And without tying that back to a creator, influencer component where you're driving true authenticity for that platform, you're just having to buy more and more frequency to have the same impact. So that's something I would like to see curtailed in 25 to really reimagine how we're engaging on these platforms to drive more effectiveness for our clients.
That Google search will be the search leader in perpetuity. I think in 5 years, they'll be at parity with some other player. ChatGPT, Microsoft, someone else will start stealing significant share from Google.
Suppose that traditional search would never die. I think we're all so accustomed to living in a world where traditional Google and Meta reign supreme, and they're still incredibly strong for different reasons, but the traditional search experience is no longer. We've had the rise of social search, search on commerce platforms, creator-led search experiences, YouTube search as well, and I think that there's no world right now where you can single-handedly rely on a traditional search experience, not even search-based or visual search. At this point, it is a whole experience that customers are navigating to really understand, is a brand right for me? Is an experience right for me? And unfortunately, the traditional search experience is no longer effectively helping consumers to navigate that experience. And so they've tapped into other ways of figuring out how to separate the signal from the noise.
The existing bet that I think the ecosystem needs to cash in its chips on is that there's any room for anything less than 100% transparency.
I think the podcast market is oversaturated. There are so many podcasts out there. There are some great ones, and there are several that are resonating with listeners and also with advertisers. I think there's an abundance of them, though, and I would not be long on new podcast content.
We are certainly cashing in our chips on thinking about buying in silos, linear or streaming. We believe deeply in the power of our platform, that consumers have a relationship with IP, not delivery mechanism. And so advertisers should think about planning across the full portfolio. And that's how you really drive ad effectiveness for your clients.
So I oversee technology. So I would say native mobile development. I'm not seeing a big lift in briefs coming in or pitches coming in to build and refactor native mobile apps. Not to say that we wouldn't continue to do those if they came in, but if I was to prioritize or reprioritize investment in that area, I would say that's one that I would deprecate temporarily.
Well, I feel like that could be a relatively easier question for somebody like Future because, we were a legacy print business that grew to be a digital giant within specialist media. And so print is still a significant part of our revenue. Everything we're talking about right now is very much digital focused. It's very much about first party data and branded content solutions. And so I think if we're folding, then we're seeing sort of less and less print in the coming weeks and months.
I wouldn't say that we're folding on any bets this year. No, I don't really see that because we really see that the kind of combination of creativity and technology that we've bet on is really going to be at the forefront. We don't think technology alone means that we should cut back on creativity. We think that creativity and technology work together. And so I don't really see us pulling back from anything this year. I see us moving forward on the bets that we've placed.
Advertising, the way we currently do it, is becoming lesser and lesser effective. And from my perspective, advertising as we know it has to be totally reinvented. As marketers, we do have the need to communicate, but the way we are communicating today is not going to work.
And with that, here's how ad buyers and sellers are laying their chips in 2025. Now to see which of these bets pay off, or don't.